Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm back to talk about Legacies, episode 105, titled Malivore, which premiered Thursday, November 29, 2018 on the CW. I'm recording 30 minutes after the episode is aired, so huge spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what I have to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other video reminders are up on screen. Take a moment to remind yourselves of those. So I'm going to try to do this in 15 minutes. So let's start the clock, and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So the episode quote, Malivore, it was said by the Dryad when she was talking about the black pit known as Malivore. So it's an actual place this time. But timeline-wise, I'm thinking it's maybe the next day after the events of episode 104 because Caleb is still in his containment due to his crimes of feeding on humans. And he doesn't seem very weak from being dried out, as Alaric said that's what his time in the cell is meant to do, dry him up of human blood, so they can get him back on the animal diet. Kind of similar to what they did with Stefan on the Vampire Diaries. But anyways, also they stated that the twins' 16th birthday is that upcoming Friday for them, which is supposed to be the focus of episode 106. But we'll get to that at the very end during predictions. But a huge episode reminder I'm going to say is that given what the episode's called, Malivore, we actually figure out what it is and just get to figure out a little bit more about why the creatures are trying to get this dagger. And speaking of creatures, the featured creature of the episode is a Dryad, most commonly mistaken as a tree nymph in this episode. But a Dryad is supposed to be a living spirit of a tree. So that's pretty cool. I definitely haven't seen that done before. So I was glad to see what she was capable of doing, especially with the vines and stuff. And then what happened at the very end, given what happened to her, was very stunning, I should say. But huge episode breakdown for the storylines. I would have to say there's three particular focuses in this episode. The first one being a question the Dryad. The second one being Landon's testing to see if he's supernatural or not. And the third one being the honor council elections for the students in the school. So with the first storyline with questioning of the latest creature, she won't talk unless she gets to see Oliver as a show of good faith because she believes humans lie. Oliver was supposed to be the man she fell in love with years ago. He was a vampire, so they had a chance to reunite, but things kind of got interrupted. When they are reunited, he doesn't remember who she is. And we find out that he's married. So she kind of cuts all ties from that and realizes that, like, she can't have him type thing, which is honorable. I'll say that. But because of this memory loss, Alaric believes that all previous interactions with these creatures were erased after some point that drove them all away. And it's just why all mentions of them are now based in books or are not considered myths. So that is his prediction there. But through the Dryad, we find out about this black pit called Malivore that is speaking in her mind, compelling her, if you will, to take the dagger and bring it to Malivore. And then she thinks by doing so, it would grant her some freedom. So it's kind of like this voice that won't get out of her head, who keeps pushing her to do these things. And like it seemed like it was against her will, too, because it looked like she didn't want to hurt Alaric and Dorian in order to get to the dagger, yet she was finding herself doing that very thing. So there's that. Second storyline with Landon's testing. Hope has been tasked to administer these magical tests to determine if Landon is a supernatural creature. We do find out that he never knew his father. We do know that his mother, Seyliah, I think hopefully I said it right. She gave him up for adoption at a very young age, probably when he was a baby. So he doesn't know much aside from her and the one photo he has of her holding him as a baby. But during these testings, she discovered that he has no supernatural strength, speed, or healing. And when she tested his blood, he had no trace of magic in his blood, which Emma thought was a little peculiar, since she said that everybody would have a trace of magic due to their ancestry, like from way down the line, right? No one's completely clean of it, she was saying. That, or at least that's the gist I got from it. So there's that. The third storyline with the Honor Council, we see campaigns going about for one witch representative, one werewolf, and one vampire representative for the council to help decide on school rules and bring into so that they have a say in things. We do see for the witches, we see campaigning against Lizzie and Penelope. We see the same thing with Raphael and Jed, specifically leading to an alpha challenge with Raphael winning. But in the end, we see the representatives being chosen as Raphael for the werewolves, Josie for the witches, much to Lizzie's dismay. And she wasn't even the runner-up, apparently, so there's that. And then Caleb, to the surprise of MG, is the representative for the vampires. And also, Hope is a member on the council, too, because she is the only tribrid, so no one could really run against her. So she gets a seat on the council because no one can really give a voice for her, except for her, because no one else in the school can relate to what she's going to, as she is a piece of all the other three. So there's that. But moving on from the last scene of the episode was Landon on a bus, traveling to what we assume is New Orleans. But he's looking at a picture with his mom, the one with his mom holding a baby. But it shows a close-up of Landon's mother having a necklace that matches the symbol that the Dryad was drawing, that is connected to Malivore. Bum, bum, bum. So there's that. Moving on to characters, though. With Lizzie, we see her using magic to change her clothes. We do see her siphon magic from the school to blow up a sandbag. So there's that. We also see Lizzie being told off by Penelope, which is the next character I'll mention. When Lizzie finds out why exactly Penelope antagonizes her so much, it's because that Penelope sees Lizzie as a black hole to Josie, how Josie has to sacrifice everything for herself to cater to her twin sister, and how Penelope antagonizing Lizzie is Penelope's way of fighting for Josie when she won't fight against her own sister. So in a sense, I get it. I mean, it definitely, when Penelope was telling Lizzie this moment, you definitely got a sense from Penelope that she truly does care for Josie. Like, she still harbors feeling for her, not like the manipulative little mean girl that we've been seeing from everybody else she interacts with. But in this moment, I truly felt like Penelope was, everything she was doing to antagonize Lizzie was for Josie, because she knew that Josie would not do this to her own sister. She would not question her own sister. She would not stand up to her own sister. It was kind of like it was Lizzie's way or no way type of thing. And it did make sense when Penelope was pointing out the fact that Lizzie didn't ask Josie if she wanted to rose. Instead, Lizzie assumed that she would win the election. Everything that Lizzie done pretty much had Josie's sole attention on. Like, there was no room for her to work on herself. I mean, even if they're the campaign, Lizzie was working on her victory speech while Josie was the one campaigning to all the witches, trying to get them to vote for Lizzie, which was unfair. And it makes perfect sense why the witches would vote for Josie, because she's the one doing all this work. She's the one that actually cares for the witches and their problems, instead of Lizzie, who seems to just want the title. So in that moment when Penelope confronted Lizzie, it was unexpected in me going into this, but I truly felt how there could have been a relationship between Penelope and Josie, and how Penelope is doing what she's doing because she knows that Josie won't do it for herself. So there's that. Moving on to characters again, Emma. She is actually overseeing the Honor Council. She is the 5th vote now, because in case they have to, can't have an even vote, right? Just in case. So there's that. But moving on to tidbits very quickly, we do get Bonnie Bennett mentioned once again by Dorian, and apparently she helped them find Oliver through a locator spell, and then got him to astral project to the Dryad, so that she could see him face to face. Also, we get Hope mentioning a family friend in New Orleans. I want to say that she's referring to Marcel, because if she was going to be referring to Freya, then Hope would have just said, I have family in New Orleans that will help you. So I hope we see Landon meeting Marcel. So there's that. We also get Lizzie and Raphael hooking up due to them both experience emotional loss. Raphael being told that Landon has to leave the school. Lizzie feeling loss of losing the election and from the onslaught of accusations that Penelope was throwing at her about her treatment of Josie. So they're kind of in a very emotional place when they hook up. I mean, I'm assuming they do, because they're like half naked on the gym mat, which is a dirty mat to begin with. But there's that. Also, we do see Jed attacking Landon and blaming him for all the changes that's happening in the school. So there's that. So moving on to most shocking moment of the episode, I think it has to be the last scene where it was insinuated that Landon's mother has a connection to Malivore due to that necklace. So there's that. But I'll move on to top 3 favorite moments because there's nothing really else I can go into that. But my favorite moment has to do with Hope and Landon. We definitely got to see such progress with them in this episode, especially when they brought in that lie detector orb thing, because if it was a truth they were telling, it was blue. If it was a lie, it was red. And it got them both to an understanding that what they were saying was actually truthful to each other. They really got to the ground of it all. Also, we do get to, when Hope was seeing Landon off, she did give him a magical bracelet or a magical wristband that he could always turn on, and then it connects to her compass bracelet to let her know that he needs her and that she can come find him that way, which I thought was really sweet. And then also, even though she voted for him to leave the school, to find out that she's doing it to protect him because she knows that the school is not a safe place for him as a human. It was definitely sweet as well. And then their kiss goodbye, oh my god, I'm still rooting for them. I mean, like, they have their moments. It's more like the will they, won't they, or like the friends who just won't admit that there's something going on between them, but they're doing stuff that insinuates that there is. So it's just like one of those, they're one of those couples, right? So I just really love their progress, and they were just so cute in this episode together. It's just like they had a breakthrough together, which I love. So there's that. Another favorite, again, is Hope and Alaric. I just love the fact that while Alaric is out questioning the Dryad, he has time to call Hope to update her and talk to her about his discoveries and just be like a sounding board for him to try to figure out like what's happening next. I just love that. Oh my god. I'm really rooting for their dynamic. I really see them as like a father-daughter type thing. And yeah, and it just also shows how much he respects and values her opinion, how he does see her as a mature enough teenager to handle all the stuff he's discovering and sharing it with her. Also knowing the fact that she's not going to stop until she finds out as well, though. But he's acknowledging that and actually including her, which I definitely love. So there's that. Also would have to give him the fact that Alaric is used to that type of behavior with Elena, Caroline, Bonnie, Stefan, Damon, and a whole crew of Vampire Diaries they had to deal with for 8 years. So there's that. Well, technically more than 8 years if you do the whole time jump stuff. But anyways, moving on. Or I guess I did mention this. Shoot. Okay, my third favorite moment was the fact that Penelope was fighting Lizzie in defense for Josie. So I went into a whole spiel about that in my character section, but I pretty much love the emotional display we got from Penelope when she was defending Josie's well-being towards Lizzie, and how she accused Lizzie of not treating her own twin better, and how she's taking everything for granted, how she's pretty much a black hole, and like everything she does is sucking Josie in where she doesn't have enough time for herself. And I love that Penelope told Lizzie, because now Lizzie, maybe she wasn't aware she was doing it, but now she's fully aware, and maybe she can change the aspect of her, or maybe she can make things right for Josie and just try to see it for herself instead of being so self-absorbed. But the favorite for me was the fact that we got to see how the motive behind Penelope's antagonistic actions toward Lizzie, and it was truly in defense of Josie, which I've mentioned many times before, so I'll leave it at that. Moving on to top 3 peeve moments, Lizzie just really bugs me. So for this whole episode, for her campaign, she didn't do any campaigning. She was either worried about her outfit or she was working on her victory speech. The whole time, Josie was the one who was campaigning to the witches and getting them to vote for her sister, who honestly I don't think would have taken the role very seriously. She would have done everything as a popularity contest instead of what was best for the school. I mean, like with the vote to keep Landon in, Lizzie would have voted to keep Landon in because it would have put her in the good graces of Raphael. She would have done that to help him, not to help the school like Josie's vote had done. So Lizzie would have been more of a selfish actions type of thing if she had won the campaign. So like just her whole take on it, she was not doing it seriously. And it's just like, I don't like her character. I prefer Josie over Lizzie for sure. Also, another peeve is the fact that Landon is leaving the school. However, this will not be a peeve if he actually does go to New Orleans and actually take Hope on her offer and see her family friend and find answers about her own mom. Because if he goes to New Orleans, then I am hoping I get to see some familiar faces from the originals. That would justify Landon leaving the school to go there, and then this won't be a peeve anymore. If I get to see some familiar faces, then I'm all good with him going to New Orleans for a while, just to see those familiar faces. So I'm going to stop saying that. So there's that. But what will I remember most when I look back on this episode? Definitely the progress between Hope and Landon. It's going to be a huge one. Also, their goodbye kiss was a stunning shot as well. Though they could have not kissed on the middle of the road right when the bus is coming. But anyways, the light and then kissing at night with the light shining on them, it was beautifully shot. I'll say that. But anyways, moving on to random questions as the timer goes. I was close, but anyways, I'm just going to state it now, theory right now, before I actually get into questions. But what if Landon's mother was a creature herself? And then if there is a hierarchy within Malivore, what if Landon is the royal heir there? What if his mom was the queen or the princess and she ran away, had Landon, so he's like the prince or something, and now Malivore is using that's whoever's leading Malivore has the psychic link, and maybe that tapped into Landon's inner creature from his mom, and that's why he went and took the dagger, and maybe why he doesn't remember due to the human side of him. I don't know. I think he's part creature. Which creature that is begs the question. But I do hope we get to find his mom. I do hope we get to have some answers. I hope that it wasn't really by choice that she stayed away from it. If she is still alive, I hope like it was more of like she was a detained type of thing, or maybe it truly wasn't in her nature to stay and keep him safe. But I think he is a creature or part creature. I think his mom was. I think he's important in Malivore. Like maybe he's connected to the leader of Malivore in some way. But that's my theory right there. I'm putting it out there. Let's go. Next, or first question, I should say. Why isn't Hope the alpha of the wolf pack? I'm pretty sure I mentioned this in my previous episode, but her mother was a hybrid and she was still the alpha of the Crescent pack. So I'm wondering why Hope isn't the alpha of the school's wolf pack. And if it's because they're going to argue that she's not fully a wolf, it's like, excuse me, she's that and much more. So there is that. Plus, also, if she was the alpha to the wolf pack, wouldn't that also allow like her special abilities of a wolf to be transferred to the wolf pack, or is that only possible in like a unification ritual that Haley and Jackson performed in season 2 of the originals? So there's that question there. Third question are all creatures getting the psychic message from Malivore to go get the dagger? I mean, that's my impression of it from the way that the Dryad was explaining it. Plus, it's also kind of resembling, I'm sorry, I have to make a Supernatural reference, but how can I not? But it's definitely similar to how the alpha vampire works on Supernatural. Specifically, it was shown in season 6, again. And that was where the alpha vampire, he pretty much sent these visions all to his vampire fledglings, no matter where they were in the world. So when Dean was a vampire that one time in 605, he was seeing these visions that were being broadcast from the alpha vampire. So I'm wondering if it's something like that in the sense with the creatures and with Malivore. So maybe Malivore is like the mother of all creatures or something, which again, we dealt with in season 6 of Supernatural. So I'm wondering if it's something like that. But there is that. So moving on to predictions very quickly, based off the promo for 106, it looks like Alaric's dead wife and the biological mother of his twins return. And that is Dr. Jo Laughlin, aka the twin sister of Kai Parker. And yeah, so that's pretty much showing. We also see Lizzie reference her not as their mom, but as Mommy Dearest, which is the episode title, I guess you could say. So I guess we can easily say that Lizzie's the one that says the quote title. But anyways, the synopsis for the episode reads that as Lizzie and Josie prepare for the long-awaited Sweet 16 party, which is supposed to be that upcoming Friday, Alaric finds himself preoccupied with the latest supernatural arrival, one that hits a little too close to home. It's probably his dead wife coming back to life. Anyways, elsewhere, Penelope's latest plan gives MG one last shot at impressing Lizzie on her big day, while an unexpected betrayal causes tensions to boil over between Hope and Raphael. So the unexpected betrayal is going to be her voting Landon to leave, which Raphael was totally against. Don't know what to make about Penelope trying to help MG get in good graces of Lizzie when she's the one that's supposed to be antagonizing Lizzie. But the title itself, Mombi Dearest, does leave the impression that Joe is going to come back as a zombie. I mean, Mombi, zombie, I mean, come on. If it's anything different, that would be my shocking moment. But if she turns out to be a zombie, then I'm not going to be surprised at all. The title gives it away. So there's that. But otherwise, I think that is pretty much it. So what do you guys think of the episode? What do you guys like about it? What do you think is going to happen next? Let me know in the comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, and predictions about all that. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I read blog promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff all found in one place. Go check that out. I'm a little behind, but I'm just trying to catch up as best I can, so please keep that in mind. Also, WordPress account, link for that is down below. Everything I post online is connected to my WordPress account. It's more organized, it's a little more in detail, but it's still a work in progress. So again, keep that in mind. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next time to see what I have to say about the next episode. But until then, guys, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.